because, it can start at any moment. Like, welcome to the Permadeath podcast, episode 24.
I was trying to explain it to Andy. Like, he was like, why are your intros to Permadeath so weird? And I was like, Bill just goes. Like, we could be talking about anything, and he just starts recording, and that's the start of the podcast. We don't know, really, until he says so.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a thing that's been missing since that I've been recording them, is that it's a much more formal start. Except for this one. Hello.
Yep.
And welcome,
So welcome.
to
Yeah.
Permadeath.
Oh, dude, I started it like 45 seconds ago.
I started it when you were joking about starting it. I was like, all right, click.
So welcome, everybody, to Permadeath podcast, episode 24. Now, this was going to be episode 25, but we did an E3 roundup live stream about maybe a few hours ago, but it ended about maybe a half hour or so ago, and there were some technical difficulties throughout, and
one we just
VOD
learned about.
Yeah, that VOD will be available, but it will not be labeled as episode 24, as it is part of our E3 coverage, and this is episode 24 right here, which is good old turn form, bands back together, reunion album, sounds like the old stuff. Permadeath podcast, episode 24.
Not the super
It's
old
been a
stuff,
while.
though, because
It's been
the old
quite a while.
stuff has Kubo and Yokorama.
Yeah, well, since the lineup change, the drummer left, but this drummer's been in the band so long that it's just kind of, it's whatever.
Like Spinal Tap.
Yeah. So how you guys doing? Even though if you have watched the E3 roundup, you'll have known you guys are doing great. But for the people who haven't, it's been a while since we have done an episode, an official.
February, wasn't it?
Straight up, yeah. 3 months ago was episode 23, which was kind of like.
I guess. I don't even know what we talked about then. Probably
we talked about living it up, vacations. We talked about having tons of money.
The dreams,
Yeah, just throwing it out there. I think we talked about the division and whatnot, and actually I like to talk about that later as well, because I brought it up on the E3 roundup. I keep going to call it a round table, like we
held a
that
round
makes
table.
it sound way more important than we actually are.
Yeah, like we just addressed something big with the country. Like what? No. Yeah, business as usual. What have you guys been playing?
I don't let Ken Ross start because he's been playing way more things than I have.
I've been playing the Azusa phone. No. Oh, gods. I have played a lot. I played Uncharted.
Yeah.
1 through 4. In about 2 weeks.
You had quite a journey, man.
Well, I'm kind of reluctant to talk too much about it because I want Abby to play it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the space of about a week, I beat the Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and then a fortnight after I bought Uncharted 4.
I don't think I talked to you about 4. I remember you keeping me updated constantly through Skype about your journey through 1 through 3, and then I kind of went MIA and then was really busy for a while, and then I was not around at all on Skype for a month or two.
Yeah.
2 months. Yeah. So I don't think I heard anything about 4 with you or anything of that nature.
I think 1 through 3 we were having discussions on the way through of my issues and things like that, and then 4 I was still sending you stuff, but you weren't receiving it, so I sort of just started to lay low. 4 took a long time for me to enjoy it. I'll say that I still don't really like third-person shooters, even after all these games. So that doesn't help. The gameplay-wise, I feel like the platforming's a bit jank, and the gunplay is just not my cup of tea. So I was pretty much playing these just because I enjoyed the stories and the characters and things, and so in that regard, 4 took a long time for me to get into it. And from what I hear, some people were saying that it was a bit slow to start, and I don't know whether they're thinking the same way that I am, or if it was a general playing the game it was slower, or if story-wise it was just a slow burn and then suddenly it all kicks off.
A common complaint amongst a lot of people on the internet is that Uncharted 4 narratively and gameplay wise started slow for a lot of people. They felt that like when they think of Uncharted, they think of like one of the first things you think of with Uncharted are the set pieces, and in terms of like the set pieces in 4 compared to 1 through 3, especially 2 and 3, they're not as grand off the bat, and for the most part there's not as many like oh wow moments like in Uncharted 2 and 3 with the train and the airplane and the collapsing buildings and the helicopters and stuff. There's not as much of that bombast. It's there in Uncharted 4, and the ones that are in there are the best in the series by far. I think it's mostly because of what they were able to do. But for a lot of people, when they think of Uncharted, they don't think of a game paced like The Last of Us. They think of, a B-grade action movie. But what they got with Uncharted 4 was very slow build-up, and I almost kind of appreciated that because I expected it because it is from Druckmann. It's the guy who did Last of Us and also wrote and did stuff on Uncharted 2. So I was expecting, and a lot of people were expecting, like, for them to bring a lot of stuff they learned from The Last of Us over to Uncharted. And for a lot of people, that doesn't work in the context of Uncharted because Uncharted isn't The Last of Us. And they didn't go full Last of Us with this game. They didn't like, oh, it's so serious and sad, like they didn't do that. It's just like the way it's paced. And I think the way Druckmann likes to tell a story is that he's very methodical and he's very deliberate, and like he likes to pace things out like slow and build it. And I think it's the most grounded story in the Uncharted series, and I think it's mostly because of Druckmann. I think, the way that he tells Nathan Drake's world in 4 compared to 2 and 3, where 1, 2, and 3, they're really lighthearted, just pirates and swashbuckling ropes and climbing and golden shit and everything, and then 4, it's like this dude's got a real life, he's got a job, he's this and that, and they present his life to you and his nostalgia even for the old games. I think like the scene in the attic and everything is paced in a way that it's like Nathan Drake's reliving his old life through his attic memoirs and stuff, almost the same way a player would be thinking in that moment, like, come on, man, like I really want to get back into that kind of stuff. And I think it's deliberately made that way, and that like it's so slow in the beginning and you're bored, but so is Nate in a way, like when you're playing through those first few chapters when you're playing in modern day, like the present. And I loved that attic scene. I loved the way it was paced. I loved the build up to what it was going on, but I understand where you're coming from, and that like when you compare it to starting Uncharted 2 or 3, like 3 was kind of slow in the beginning in a way. Sort of.
Like 3 was like half of a game.
3 is my least favorite.
When I think of 3, I can't think of how it started, and I feel like it ended far too quickly. And yet it took me a long time to beat. So I'm like, I'm not.
3's story is the least memorable by far. And I think it's mostly due to the characters in it. I mean, compared to 2, with Chloe, Cutter, Tenzin, and I mean Lazarevich isn't the greatest villain in the world, but I remember him more so than I remember Marlowe or the other fucking dude Talbot from 3. I don't really recall a lot of what was going on in 3. Like I do the locations and the memories I have playing 2, and even 1. I remember 1 a lot. 1's still kind of fresh, and even though I haven't played it for years.
Yeah, I would probably not recommend playing all the games in about 3 weeks, because
that could do something. Yeah.
You get real bored of the crap that it pulls with certain enemies. And similarly, you spend 10 or 12 hours playing with one very specific set of mechanics, and then the next game, the mechanics for the same system, or the way that mechanic works, changes. So you're like, okay, I'm used to doing it this way. Oh, this doesn't work at all. It does something completely different, and I've just jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, they're very clearly games years apart in development.
Yeah.
But in terms of 4, in terms of
talking about the things that people care about,
the way that I felt about 4 and playing 4, I've read a lot of complaints about 4. I made sure to read everything possible so I can see, maybe what's wrong with it. Maybe it would change my view. Like, like I bitch a lot about people bitching about certain things, but then, you read criticism, both good and bad. And like, I like reading that because then it makes me look at the game in different ways, and I could understand. And I don't agree with them, but I can understand where people are coming from with the slow start. I can understand where people are coming from with the lack of like, a handful of more than a handful of set pieces. It's lacking in that regard, but,
honestly, I was also disappointed. there were characters that I wanted to see that I didn't see. I don't want to specify just because of potential spoilerisms. Yeah, I don't hate the time I spent with 4. I'm glad that I played it, but part of me still thinks that if I'd stopped playing at 2, I would have been the most satisfied. 4 ends well, but I feel like it wasn't the sort of ending that I wanted to happen.
I can maybe see that too. I think it's the perfect way to end Uncharted for me personally. I will preface. I will say before I say any of what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
For me personally, playing through Uncharted 4 and going through the story beats and watching Nate's final story unfold, and there's so many things people are expecting to happen, there's so many things people are waiting for to happen, there's so many things that could happen for a final game made by Naughty Dog and written by Neil Druckmann that like you just are expecting, you know, and like playing through the game and playing through the final few chapters and being attached to Uncharted for so many years and getting to see everything just kind of rain down on you in the last 2 or 3 chapters and then the epilogue and everything. And like, I got teary-eyed 3 times from the last few chapters and the end and like playing it, and I'm just like, I finished it. I put the controller down and I immediately like started texting people that have been playing it too, and like it's my game of the year probably, and like I don't know what would dethrone it for me. I mean, like I can say Overwatch because I think Overwatch is a perfect game as well, and I think my opinions on Overwatch, which we'll talk about later, are very, very high. But I can't sit there and give Game of the Year to Overwatch when I have the like closure I want out of one of my favorite franchises of all time. And
I mean that's probably the thing, is you've been playing it for years. I played it for less than a month. So it's a very sort of different experience of what you're expecting. I mean, I'm glad that, because originally I was thinking maybe I should try and get people around to record this episode like the week after I finish this game so that I can talk about it. And I'm actually kind of glad that it's been about a month now. I'm kind of glad that it's sort of been left to sit, because I find that if I'm talking about something that I've done very recently, I'm much more sort of this is going to sound stupid now that I've paused for 20 seconds. It's like harder for me to form the thought of it, and I end up rambling in an unuseful way.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, I want to talk about it, and
I've done that plenty of times in this show. Like every time we talk about a game.
I haven't played any of the multiplayer because my PSN ran out.
The multiplayer is fine. You know, it's the multiplayer for all the Naughty Dog games are all fine. The Last of Us was their best effort, and Uncharted 2's multiplayer was good. Uncharted 4's multiplayer is great. It's really fun, but it's just like I plan to go back to it because they are giving out free DLC and there's some free stuff coming out. It's already out. It just came out this week. Well, the week of recording this, and you know, it's just that not long after I got into that multiplayer, Overwatch came out, and when it comes to me sitting down and playing a multiplayer game, I'm not gonna pick Uncharted 4's multiplayer over Overwatch if I'm gonna play a multiplayer shooter. So that's where, but it's fine. You know, it's Naughty Dog. You know, in games that you wouldn't expect or don't have any business having multiplayer components this like well thought out and well made. Like you wouldn't like I remember when they announced the multiplayer for Uncharted 2, everyone was just kind of like, what? You know, and it came out and people were like, wow, this is actually surprisingly good. As if Naughty Dog would do anything less than make sure something's good. Like they're pretty solid in terms of making sure that they don't tarnish their reputation with tacked on garbage. And same goes for 4. I mean, it's good. People like it and it's popular, and it's fine. It's good. If you like the traversal of the grappling hook and the way combat flows and some of the encounters in the game, and bringing that to the online spectrum where it's also 60 frames per second, the resolution is bumped down to 900p, but the multiplayer does run at 60 frames, and getting to play as some of your favorite characters and a lot of goofy skins for them. And like for me personally, any chance I get to play as Elena, I will, because I love her and I want to marry Elena, and I'm gonna propose to her right now on this podcast. Elena Fisher, if you're listening, video game character, my goddess, marry me today, and you'll be handsomely rewarded by living in my parents' house with me.
What more could you ask for? Nothing.
But yeah. So no, I had a great time with Uncharted. I'm glad you didn't hate it though. I mean, like I understand where you're coming from and your problems, and I understand those problems do exist because you're not the only one who has them. So
I mean, this. I'm not going to read it because it's bloody miles away. But for the context of people listening who obviously don't have access to our Skype chat, my reactions throughout particularly the first game, I think was when I was talking about it the most, was very similar to the outburst that Bill had in Until Dawn that we read out a couple of episodes ago, where he was basically commenting on the last chapter or whatever of the game. That was basically my reaction the entire time, because I was only talking to Bill when I was pissed off. Yeah,
It's great.
I have some problems, but I do enjoy it.
That's great. I mean, I think when you say that you played through them because you enjoyed the characters and the story more so than the gameplay, I think that's a perfectly fine position to take in Uncharted, because I think a lot of people take that position because for the most part, Uncharted, it's not a bad third-person shooter, but it's not like some exemplary one where it's like, man, like you gotta fucking play this game. The shooting's outrageous. Like, it's serviceable, you know? I mean, there's cover. You take cover and you shoot guys. I mean, there's nothing in it that makes me go like, whoa, man, like, holy shit, I had a orgasmic experience, man, playing this. But I mean, like, it's just there, you know?
It's the sort of thing where I have friends who care about story in games, and I have friends who care more about story in games, and friends who care more about how a game plays. I would probably not recommend any of the Uncharted games to that second group of people. Anyone who prizes story over gameplay, I would say you should probably give this a go. It's not a massively long experience. The story and the characters are fun, and the gameplay just sort of gets in the way a little bit.
I mean, when I say that, I don't think it's anything exemplary. I don't think that it doesn't play fun, because I think Uncharted 4's gameplay, for me personally, I really enjoyed the additions of the marking and the way that you can stealth through just about every encounter. I've had a lot of fun doing that because, like, there's a lot of encounters in the Uncharted series, and especially because there's certain enemies Naughty Dog likes to craft that are just fucking bitches, like shotgun guys with 1,000 layers of armor who just are for some reason just running around. Like, dude, you're wearing like 600 pounds of armor. You're not doing what you're doing. It's just period. You're not jumping over these cliffs. Like, you're gonna fall and die of heat exhaustion. But whatever. Yeah. They like to craft these encounters with these enemies that are super annoying to fight. And one of the things I liked about Uncharted 4, and I did it a few times, is marking all the enemies like you would in like Far Cry or something, and using that to kind of telegraph where they are, and then stealth the entire encounter. And then even if you're caught, you have an opportunity to hide again, which was not in any of the Uncharted games, to my knowledge. Yeah. And
three let you hide, and it could help. Like, if you alert them but don't get full, I think you could hide and it would go away. It was just a lot harder.
Yeah. I don't remember 3 a lot, so that would explain my lack of...
I did feel, though, that the marking was slightly flawed. In my strategy was, here is some grass. Clearly I need to start stealthing. There are some enemies. Let's waggle the view camera all over the place as I spam the lock button, and it'll just lock onto everyone that it sees.
That's one way. That's one way to do it. But I appreciated some of the additions. I liked the grappling hook. I liked the little pike thing, whatever the hell it's called. The little thing that lets you stab into porous rock. Was another fun addition to the platform.
The rock pick thing from Tomb Raider.
Yeah. So other than that, though, yeah. I mean, it's not something someone's gonna play if they're like just into gameplay, like you said. But I mean, like, for people who like both or even just one or story, the Uncharted games are super fun for me to play through for multiple reasons. And I think the exhilaration you feel during some set pieces is also top notch and lends itself to some of the platforming and the gameplay, like the Jeep stage we saw at E3 for Uncharted 4, which I almost wish they did. After playing it, I wish they hadn't shown it at E3. I wish that would have been a surprise, because I think that sequence is one of the best in the game, and I wish it wouldn't have been spoiled for everybody who hasn't played it, you know. So, yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting, actually. My last point on Uncharted is the original reveal trailer for Uncharted 4 just had a voiceover done by Todd Stashwick, who is in games and TV shows and everything. He has like a deep brooding voice, and when the game was still under control of Amy Hennig, who left Naughty Dog to go work at Visceral on the Star Wars game, he was slated to be Drake's brother. The game's story largely the same in like structure, but the way the trailer was VO'd and the way the trailer was written, it was narrated by Drake's brother, and it 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 set Drake's brother up as an actual villain, and had him set up as like, you left me to rot in a prison for years. You left me to die. Now you owe me. And like it had this really ominous tone to it. And I watched that reveal trailer. That was like an E3 teaser, like years and years ago after 3 had come out. And I'm so glad she left. And I no disrespect to Amy Hennig or anything, because she gave us Uncharted and she's such a wonderful director. But that would have been so freaking stupid. And I mean, maybe someone would have preferred it, but that way that trailer goes, after playing the game and experiencing the game for myself, after listening to that initial reveal trailer, I'm so goddamn glad they had a change in leadership on Uncharted 4. But anyway, Uncharted 4. Loved it. Kid Ross liked it.
And that should be good enough for you.
Thumbs up.
I mean, you mentioned Uncharted. I'm aware that Abby is sat there probably playing Fire Emblem, patiently waiting. We've all played Overwatch, Abby slightly less for various reasons, but I feel like that's something that we could at least all discuss. It's high noon. It's high noon.
You know what I found out?
Bastion's the best. Bastion.
Crom's voice actor from Fire Emblem voices McCree.
Oh.
Is that Matthew Mercer?
That's Crom going, it's high noon.
What's great, what I love about Matthew Mercer is he will play Overwatch and fuck with people over the microphone and talk like McCree.
Oh my god.
He's such a... I love Matthew Mercer a lot.
Does he do it when no one is playing as McCree?
That'd be the best.
What?
He posted on Twitter him getting a play of the game as McCree and him talking over it and everything. It's really great. Critical Role is great. I like Matthew Mercer. He's a good guy. But anyway, Overwatch has been my obsession since it came out, and
I wish I could play it more often.
First, I want to know what you guys think of it before I ramble on for like 5 minutes. I won't talk much about Overwatch. Not much I can really say. That has already been said, really.
I didn't think I would like it that much because I'm not very good at first-person shooters. I've never been very good at first-person shooters. It's not, unique to Overwatch. Oh my god, there's a huge spider on my wall.
Ah!
Is it a Widowmaker?
What do I do? Oh god, hold on. Right, you.
Okay.
BRB.
Quick, turn the AFK images on.
I don't know what to do. What do I do?
Whack it with a book.
It's quite far up, and I don't want to get a spider all over my wall. Oh god. I'm gonna have to get a spider all over my wall.
Well,
Okay, I'll be back.
What you
Can you
can do,
talk about?
what you can do is you can whip it with like the edge of a dirty shirt or whatever, and you just go whoop, and you knock it off, and then you crush it.
You shoot it with a...
I won't be able to
gun.
because it's behind a pile. Well, it's on a wall behind a pile of figure boxes. This is an interesting podcast. I'm sorry.
We can clip it. It's okay.
Now we're gonna leave this in. Just imagine.
Abby
okay,
gets
right
play
now.
of the game.
Yeah.
Spider
You all know
100.
You all know what spiders look like. You know what Abby looks like. Imagine her fighting the spider in the desert with a sword.
You describe it as I try and fix this.
The scene is set, okay? It's been 300 years since the spiders took over. And Earth has become a desert wasteland because spiders don't know how to manage resources. So the whole Earth has dried up. And the spider overlords have enslaved humans for hundreds of years. But there's a resistance group that went underground, led by Abby. And now the spiders have found the secret tunnels that lead to the Resistance's underground bunkers. And Abby has been forced out with her sword that they crafted. And the spiders can only be cut by a sword made from plastics, fly swatters, and coated with Raid, the chemical bug spray. And
How ironic that spiders die to a fly swatter.
It's a critical weakness they never realized.
Okay, I can't reach the spider because it's too high up.
There's no one you can call?
No. So I'm gonna sit here
What about
and
what
do
about?
the podcast with a magazine in my hand, rolled up, ready for it to,
Okay, there is one alternative. Do you have a Hoover with an extending nozzle?
No.
Okay,
Not that
well
I can use at 10:30 at night.
well, it would literally just be. Boop.
Do you have anything to throw at it? Like a brick?
Do you have any figures that you're not that attached to?
No, I quite like my figures. It's fine. So Overwatch is a game that I didn't think I would like because,
First person.
yeah, first person shooters.
Yeah.
Like I've never been good at Halo or Call of Duty. They've never really interested me that much. But everyone was playing Overwatch at a point, and I was like, okay, I'm in the position to give it a go, so I will do that. And I really, really like it, and I'm surprised by how much I like it.
That's like the sentiment I hear with Overwatch so much, and it makes me so happy because I feel like Blizzard succeeded in what they set out to do with Overwatch, and I don't want to compare it to Splatoon, in that, like, Nintendo did the same thing for shooters in a way. Like, a lot of people who don't play shooters play Splatoon, and I can't compare them on a fundamental level because Splatoon has very different principles than Overwatch. Splatoon is very in that, like, you don't have to kill people to win, but Overwatch carries that same way in a way because there's what I love so much about Overwatch, and what keeps me recommending it to people that I know, like friends or family members or whoever that, like, has interest, or they see the commercials, or they like Blizzard games but they're not so sure about shooters, is that, like, there's so many characters, 21 characters to pick from, and what I love about it so much is, like, it covers a very wide spectrum of, like, styles, and everybody that I've recommended the game to, everybody that I know, either in family or out of family or friends or whoever, like, always kind of gravitates towards a certain character. And I think Blizzard did such a great job of, like, making a character, like, for everybody. And, like, that's such a generic thing to say, like a bullet point for the box, like, there's something for everybody. But, like, for Overwatch, compared with Team Fortress, I think they really do succeed in that. Like they did such a great job at making important roles not boring to play, but also easy to play, like, in terms of support. Like, in MMOs or any game that requires support or tank type classes, MMOs, shooters, strategy games, whatever, MOBAs, a lot of people like to shy away from those roles because they're either fucking hard to play and they're really important. So if you fuck up, you get a lot of slack from people, or flack, not slack. It's the opposite in this case. You get a lot of flack from people for their fucking up, like playing MMO so many years. If you're the healer, if somebody dies, it's your fault, even if that stupid ass DPS was standing in the red circle. But either way, you get a lot of flack. So a lot of people shy away from those roles. Nobody wants to tank. Nobody wants to heal. It's why the queues for those roles in MMOs are so high. It's why people fight over character picks in certain other games. And
oh my god, sorry.
Spider moving.
It's disappeared completely.
That's fine.
You're
okay.
Okay. I'm not wearing shoes and I'm scared.
Sit cross-legged. Done.
I'm sat on my chair. Sorry,
Yeah,
I looked away for a second to look at Twitter and then I looked back up and it's gone. I don't know where it went.
He teleported. He went home.
Yeah, maybe he went out the window. He went back to where he came from.
Maybe.
But on that note, my issue is I've been playing on the PC. And I will talk about that in a moment. I have found that next to no one wants to play any level of support, so I'm always playing support, and the only support I can play well is Mercy. And I have been bitched at far more times than I'd like for not doing a good job as Mercy.
That is probably a caveat, and that is that is.
So that just completely overturns what you were just saying about how Overwatch doesn't do this.
When I say that, no, but when I say what I mean is, like, they make it fun to play. It's the problem of the community is maybe not them not picking them. But what I love so much about it is, like, I if I have to, like, I don't mind playing tank or support because I think they did a great job of balancing those characters to be fun. Like, it's unfortunate you have a lot of people who shy away from playing support because I think that will go away as time goes on. I think a lot of people really love trying to get play of the game. I think once Blizzard fixes the play of the game algorithm to maybe include more support centric plays. I mean, I know Mercy can get in there a good bit if he plans to resurrects well. But other than that, I mean, most of the people who are rewarded with the fame and the glory are the Bastions, the Reapers, the Soldiers, the Torbjorns who are shit. But, and But other than that, I mean, what I love, but what I was saying is like everyone gravitates towards the character, and I think that's what helps people who aren't as attuned to FPS games. Just like in terms of Splatoon, like you don't really need to be an amazing shooter player to play Splatoon because, like, for the most part, for its main mode, you don't have to fucking aim at anything. You know what I mean? It's just like blah, and I love that about Splatoon. And what I love about Overwatch is like, yeah, like if you're not a big in FPS, like there's characters you can play that don't require you to be some expert FPS player. And there's characters you can play that if you are really great at FPS and you have good precision and you have good awareness and like you've been playing FPS for years, like there's characters for that. There's characters for people who like playing Call of Duty. Soldier 76 is a very common FPS type character. You have Widowmaker for people who like to snipe with precision. You have Lucio and Genji and Tracer for people who like speed and stuff like that, like like arena shooters. And I think Blizzard did such a great job at fleshing out the roster and then giving them personalities on top of that. I think what's made people attach so much to Overwatch is like everything outside of the game and the way the characters are written and their personalities, and controversy aside, the animated shorts and the comics and the fan art. And Blizzard basically made everybody a fan of Overwatch before the game came out, and that's a testament to what Blizzard's great at doing, and that's world building from the ground up with their own intellectual property. And like I've been so over the moon with Overwatch. It's like the first FPS game in so many years that I've played consistently over months instead of picking the game up like Titanfall or picking any an FPS up and playing it for like 3 weeks with my friends, and then like nobody mentions it. It's not that everyone goes like makes a collective effort to stop playing it. Everyone just kind of stops playing it. While with Overwatch, like it's just in our minds constantly, and I'm playing it all the time. It's such an easy go-to game. Matches can be short, they can be long. I am just enamored with it completely.
I've not played in about a month, I think. And part of that is down to I play at 15 to 20 FPS and with the worst resolution in the world, and sometimes player models don't load before the start of a match, so that makes things a little awkward. But so it's between a mix of that and just generally not really wanting to play. I feel like I'm probably not going to touch it again until, miracle of miracles, I get a GPU, or until Ebby's GPU starts working, because at this point, no offense to Andy or to Matt, but at this point people have played so much that the matchmaking is so buggered against me that I can't enjoy those games anymore. It's the same issue that we have in or used to have in things like Splatoon and Mario Kart.
Mario Kart's really bad.
The leveling was counterintuitive. Well, not counterintuitive.
I know what you mean.
Disadvantageous, because you gain levels just by playing the game. It's not a skill thing. I feel like matchmaking should be based more on like a win-loss ratio or something.
In terms of Overwatch, I know that there's some behind the scenes like MMR or SBMR, whatever, skill-based matchmaking, or SBMM, where like it takes your general play and kind of puts you in games with tries to anyway. It's the same with Call of Duty. They try to do it as well, because Call of Duty's leveling is totally non-skill based as well. So they try to do it. I don't think it's always as successful as maybe they would like it to be, especially if you're playing though with like Andy or Matt, depending on what their skill level is at or whatever. It might be pulling people in. It'll probably pull in from the host, not so much you as a party member.
Yeah, it pulls in from host, so it's a case of having to try and insist. Guys, can I be host, please? So yeah, I'm not going to touch it for a good while now. I don't think.
For anyone wondering, in terms of, because Overwatch, for the most part, I think a lot of people would consider it a PC game, but they did do console versions of it, and I play on PS4. For anyone wondering how the console versions are, I think it's pretty well known at this point, but the console versions are pretty up to snuff. I think Blizzard don't suck at making games, so when it comes to them making sure the console ports are working correctly and they are good ports and they aren't just like, here's a way to make money, like they run at 60 frames, they look great, they play great. Some characters are a little tricky on controller, but they are tuning the dead zone aiming, because the aiming feels kind of strange sometimes, but they are fixing it, and I haven't had too many issues. Just a matter of getting that good balance of sensitivity, and then it's like anything else, like Widowmaker's tough on controller, but for me personally, I don't know if that's down to me just sucking at sniping like I have since Halo 2, or if that's really the game's fault, because there are some people who play Widowmaker on console who are just unbelievable. So
I found that Widowmaker on console was McCree was significantly harder than it was on PC.
It's tougher. It's tougher. It's tougher to aim because they are relying on headshots. At least for McCree's regular shot, his fan the hammer move, which got nerfed, is just kind of blah, 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 blah. You could aim down and just whatever. But the console port went great. I've been playing on PS4 for about I have like 60 hours into the game right now. Maybe not seem as much as many hours as other people have. But for a multiplayer shooter in this day and age, for me, that's a good bit. And I played it all on console. That's where all my friends are at, so it made sense for me to get it there. And it made sense because my PC's capabilities are fine for Overwatch. I played the beta, but on PC for a bit. But it's just I gravitate towards console lately for everything, and I have nothing but good things to say about the PS4 version. They're balancing it separately for anyone wondering, which is a great thing, and Blizzard's really smart for doing that because certain characters will play differently on console than PC because of the control scheme. So they are taking that into account by nerfing Torbjorn on console, but not on PC because of the way you're able to react to his turrets on PC. A little bit quicker of a turn time than on console, which is slower with the analog sticks to react to his turrets. They're nerfing the amount of damage it does by a good bit.
I still feel like they need to nerf those turrets.
What they need to do, I think the problem isn't the damage. The problem is their fucking lock-on auto-aim from 90 miles away.
Yeah.
Just so ridiculous. But maybe the damage will mitigate that, and by not killing you in 2 hits, maybe reacting to it slower won't matter or something. I don't know. But
I mean, the range is an issue on PC as well. Like in Hanamura, you can put a turret at the far end of the second zone or whatever, and it'll kill you from outside the gate.
It's really frustrating when you're playing as Pharah and they have a turret set up on the ground or whatever, and you as Pharah can take advantage of the geometry of the map and jump over a thing that other characters wouldn't know. And as soon as your head pops over that fucking arc or archway, Torbjorn's turret instantly snaps to you. Like, it doesn't even need time to react. Maybe give it some reaction time instead of instantly locking, like some like registration of like target acquired. Like, obviously you don't say that, but you know what I mean by what I'm saying. Like an instance of like hostile recognition instead of it just going boom and start shooting you, because it melts you as well. It does a lot. It's ridiculous, and it makes for some pretty shitty play of the games. Like just watching some dude stare at the wall while his turret just wipes everyone out.
Who did you
I saw an amazing play of the game the other day. It was a Torbjorn play of the game, and he died just as the play of the game started, and his turret was killing things, but his body slowly started rolling and went off of the map to this like really epic play of the game music, and it was just like this limp Torbjorn. Just it was amazing. I'll try and find it after we finish recording.
But
I love it though. I think the game's like cultural like takeover is significant as well. I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing an Overwatch meme. Like they're just everywhere. Play the game memes, the fan art, the way Overwatch has been associated into our pop culture it's Blizzard.
I feel like
play of the game memes might be my favorite thing ever.
I love them so
I have
much.
only seen one, and that was for Game of Thrones.
Yes, I've seen a few for Game of Thrones.
Well, the last episode of Game of Thrones.
The last episode and one earlier with Grey Worm acting as Genji. It's not really a spoiler. It's whatever. It's so vague. But yeah.
I feel like I have a contrary opinion on this bit, so I will just ask you, what do you feel about the game is not, if you somehow you don't know anything about the game, it is not a kill matchmaking game. It is an objective based game.
Yeah.
How do you feel about either the way that the objectives are done, or the number of the number of game types that there are at present?
Are you asking if I think it's too low? Like
I'm not leading the question in any way.
Because one of the talking points with Overwatch, and it's a common one, and it's almost raises a good point, but I think I know where you're kind of nudging, and it's a matter of like people will bitch about Battlefront coming out, and like not having a single player campaign, only having so many modes, so many maps, and being charged full price. And then Overwatch comes out, and it's kind of the same situation where there's only so many maps, no single player campaign, whatever. And they're also charging full price, at least for the console versions. And like nobody ever seems to raise an eyebrow at Blizzard for that, and everybody kind of jumps on EA's back or jumps on Titanfall's back or even with Splatoon, people got pissed about Splatoon. But I look at Splatoon. I look at Overwatch the same way I look at Splatoon, and I look at them as both Splatoon and Overwatch have promised their post-launch content for free. All future maps will be free. All future game modes will be free. All future characters will be free. As with Splatoon, the post-launch content, all of it was free. There was not one thing you could buy with money in Splatoon, except unless you count the amiibos. Overwatch has loot boxes, of course. I kind of figured as such. But all substantial release content will be free. And when I look at maybe paying $60 for Overwatch, and like I look at maybe there's only 3 modes. There's Payload, King of the Hill, and Control Point. No, Assault or whatever, where there's 2 points you have to attack.
I argue that there's 2.5 game types. Because one of them is like a fusion of the 2.
That's true. One of them has you attack a point and then you push a payload. Some of them have you start with a payload. It's interesting because there really are only the game in terms of mode variety. It doesn't exist really. You know what I mean? And even when you look at the modes, you know, you're still kind of doing the same thing. You know, you're attacking a point or you're pushing a thing, and every mode. To the point where it kind of molds together. And the way they have it designed is that the maps are designed around their modes. You're never going to play King of the Hill on Route 66. You're only ever going to play Payload on Route 66. Yeah. Which I think is a good way to design maps. I think it's a good way to design maps around modes instead of going like, okay, here's 16 maps in the game, and you could play Domination on this map, but you can also play Team Deathmatch on that map. And maybe that certain developer might not design that map well enough for a certain objective play. So Blizzard was like, fuck it, every map we're just going to design around a certain objective. And I can definitely see where it becomes stale for some, especially because, you know, you're really doing the same thing, and it can get kind of like.
I mean, what is the actual map number? Because again, I got into an argument with someone, and it feels to me, honestly, like there's 5 or 6 maps, but apparently there's significantly more than that.
There's about 12, I believe.
Okay.
There are 12 maps. And it feels that way. I mean, because there's certain days.
And the ones that I can think of, I don't like.
There are certain days
King's Row
where
sucks. Temple of Anubis sucks.
Anubis sucks. The only maps I don't like are Anubis and Anubis and Hanamura.
I like Hanamura.
Which Hanamura? There are like 6.
Well, there's one Hanamura, and that's the one that is the same every time.
Okay, so what's the one? If
there's
Hanamura, there's Hanamura with the gate, and the other, like the one control point that falls ridiculously quickly, and then the second one that takes forever because Torbjorn puts a turret there.
Yeah, it's the big like Japanese temple.
Okay, so what is the one where it's at? I mean, there's 2 that are at nighttime. There's one that's at nighttime, and there's like a central point in like a little shrine, and then there's also another one that's at night in an Asian-themed world. Which
that
is
Lijiang
house to the
Tower,
left.
I believe. That is Lijiang Tower, I believe.
So you're not recording, are you? You could watch that play of the game that I just linked in chat, and we could get your reaction to it.
I mean, I'm recording, but I'm not recording desktop audio, so I could watch it. Yes.
But either way, Hanamura is fine on defense, and I think Hanamura is also a beautiful looking map as well. I think the scenery works really well with Blizzard's art style. I think the cherry blossoms and everything it's a really nice looking map. It's just when it comes to attacking on Hanamura, I don't have a great time with it. So I guess I can't say I hate Hanamura. I hate attacking on Hanamura. It's possible to win. It's just really hard with randoms who have no coordination or anything of the such. Same with Anubis. Anubis is easier to win on than Hanamura, but
I think randoms are the issue.
Yeah,
because the randoms are so like when I'm playing. If I'm playing with just Andy or just Matt, then it gets, or heaven forbid, on my own. It's really frustrating because I'm the only one who will change my strategy depending on the enemy. And so if you're playing with just randoms, they're also set in I am McCree. I will
Indeed.
never play anything but McCree, and so you can end up in a situation where there's
It's
3
fucking
people who
awful.
are stubbornly saying, I will not shift from McCree, you shift, we need support. It's like, well, if we need support, and you've noticed that, you be support.
Mhm.
For once, I
Exactly.
want to play as someone who isn't Mercy. Please.
Yep. It's funny when you get somebody who's like, you end up with like 3 McCrees on your team, and like, one of the McCrees will be complaining about, we need a healer. It's like, dude, you're the 3rd McCree. Like, yeah, maybe you should fucking do it. Like, so.
But then
A lot of
similarly,
my-
like the most amazing experience is when there's a group of 3 of you, so like Andy, myself, and Matt or Ebby, and you all say as a joke, let's all be Winston, and 3 people change to Winston suddenly, and then everyone's like, guess we're gonna be a team of Winstons.
In some cases, a full 6-man team of 1 hero works.
I like
Zarya,
it when it happens with strangers. Like they notice that you're
Yeah.
starting to play all the same
Yeah.
characters, so they join in.
And then you go,
Yeah.
yes!
When it happens organically, it's hilarious. I had a game where all 6 of us played Zarya, which worked out tremendously well. Zarya is a really powerful hero, and paired up with herself 5 times over, even better. Because everyone just is popping damage shields on each other and popping damage shields on themselves, and it's just impossible to break the defense from that.
I think...
And I have a video of that actually up on my YouTube channel of our 6 Zarya match.
The
which was
most
super
fun that I think we've had was a couple of games that we played as a Bastion team. One game we got wrecked, and the other game we just destroyed ours, and it was amazing. And then another was when we decided, for the fun of it, we're gonna all be Mercy, and we're just gonna we'll be in like a healing ring, and we were on I can't remember the name of it, but it's a push the point one where it's through like a little valley and in through a helipad or whatever. And it worked surprisingly well until one of us died, and then suddenly it all fell apart. But that was a laugh. A full Mercy team.
It's
Who
full of...
do you main, Bill? Do you have a main, or do you just
it's
switch
tough.
between?
It's tough to say because I usually
I mean, do you have
Just-
we tend to ask top 3.
top 3 for me. My top 3 favorites to play are Pharah, Roadhog, and probably Lucio. Are fair to say, but it's so hard for me to pick because like I love playing Reinhardt. I think if you have a really good like groove going as Reinhardt, you could just totally dismantle a team's defense with his ultimate and then his charge and then his ranged move to take out a turret, and like it's really satisfying to play him. I think Zarya is super fun to play. Soldier 76, a lot of people look at him as a generic vanilla, like, oh, he's there for the COD people, but like Soldier 76 is super powerful. His heal's really great, his accuracy is perfect, and his rocket move is awesome, and his ultimate is such an aimbot. But
I mean, it is an aimbot.
it is literally an aimbot. I have a lot of fun playing as Mei as well. But my top 3 probably Fair, Roadhog, and Lucio are the 3 that I would typically gravitate to in certain situations. Like I'll pick up Pharah if I'm on offense, if we don't have one, and they have some turret defenses, and I can get aerial advantage. Roadhog's my go-to tank because I'm absolutely murderer with the hook. It's one of my favorite things to do in the game is to hook a Widowmaker or hook a Tracer or hook a Genji, and these little fast fuckers who like to be a pest. I just hook them and instantly kill them with Roadhog. It's so satisfying because I know they're pissed about it, and I take great pleasure in that. Who else do I like? It's tough because I don't have a main.
I mean, because you need to switch things up,
Yeah,
it is impossible to have
And
a
I
main, which
like-
is why we tend to ask like 3 or 4.
I like just about every character except Symmetra. I think Symmetra is terribly boring to play as, and I don't know how to fix it because I think her utility is fine. Like she builds up little sentry turrets and builds a teleporter, and for that, the teleporter is grand. It's super useful for people. But the act of playing her just to give people a teleporter isn't fun to me. And I think if you build her sentry turrets in good spots, I think she's great. But I don't have the awareness and the map know-how sometimes to go like, this is where I'm going to hide my little sentry turrets here. Because as soon as every time I pick Symmetra and I want to get good at her because I want to be able to be well-rounded, and she's the only character that I don't play as and I'm not good at. Everyone else I kind of have down, not like proficiently, but like I have them down if I need to play them. Is like as soon as I pick Symmetra and I put some sentry turrets down and I see what they're destroyed, I go, well, that's it. I switch. I don't even fucking whatever. Like I'm not bothering. And yeah.
That teleporter reminds me, and I'm sorry for going off point.
That's fine.
I understand why it's a thing, but death is such a ball ache because of how long it takes to get back to the game. I swear that I spend at least half the game not playing the game because I need to run to the checkpoint.
It's not a bad point to bring up, to be honest. It's one of those things where sometimes I feel like the respawn's longer than other times, where I'll die and I'll just be flipping out because like they're taking the point, and I'll die in some stupid ass way, and there are certain games with randoms where I just can't rely on them to do anything, and I'm waiting to respawn, and like I'll just start flipping out, like fucking respawn me. Like I feel like sometimes it's like 9 seconds, sometimes it's 4. Like I don't know if I'm going crazy or if the game's actually fucking with me. Like I don't know what, but
I don't know about actual respawn, but I did count / record in time one instance of death and getting back to the game, and it took 25 seconds.
Damn.
You can lose a game in that time.
Yep. I think that's
probably the point, but
I think that's the point. Is like it rewards if you wipe. It's like a MOBA. If you wipe out the whole team late game and you're attacking a point, you should be rewarded for that because that's tough. Rewarded with the opportunity to really push. But but it's certainly frustrating to be on the receiving end of that. And like in a lot of other
with a MOBA, you can't switch your hero midway through.
No.
Like you could have a perfectly fine team, and then someone on the opposing team suddenly switches to something that wrecks you all, and because they happen to switch and their respawn spot is like 5 seconds away, you lose.
Yeah, I mean it's just the nature of the game. I think at that point.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, but yeah, I mean the idea of switching heroes to counter and at the right times and when to do it, and like some matches I'll start as a certain hero and know for a fact I'm going to switch when the point changes because I know certain heroes are better here than there, and it's not without its frustrations though. When I gush about Overwatch and when I say what Blizzard has accomplished with Overwatch, I think it's impressive, like especially for people who don't typically play FPS and maybe people who aren't not even just don't play them but aren't skilled at them at all, or it's not without saying like some of the things can be fixed, and I think some of the maps can be fixed, and I think a lot of problems I have with it stem down to the community and the way that they play more so than what Blizzard has done, because all Blizzard has done is provided us the game, and when some asshole isn't switching, maybe there should be parameters in place where you could only have so many of a certain character, wouldn't be a bad thing to do, 2 at max, so you can't have the third asshole going, no, you switch, like fuck off, dude, get the hell out of here, like so I mean, there are some instances where 2 of the same character is useful. Like having 2 Torbjorns isn't a bad idea on certain maps.
I mean, if they were to make it so that if there's 3 of one character, then what it does is it randomizes one of those 3 to be someone else.
Yeah, it forces you to just switch, like without even telling you, and not as a punishment mechanism, but just as a you can't do that, dude. So. There are some things that get tweak, and certain ways a community can learn the freaking game, and. I think the future of Overwatch is interesting, and I think it goes back again. I wanted to iterate on when you nudged me about the amount of modes and maps, and I think it's a point I wanted to make as well about because I saw a lot of bitching about the game being full price and only being multiplayer only, and a lot of people on my Twitter feed, people that I've followed throughout the years, like excuse me, are talking about they always bring up Battlefront. And I like Battlefront very much, and I think it's a good shooter and everything, but I haven't played it since it came out, and I think it's a testament to maybe what they were able to pull off with its longevity. And I think the issue with me not coming back to Battlefront, and I think the reason so many people bitched about it being full price and only being multiplayer only, because in terms of content, what Battlefront had in its launch game isn't very much different than what Overwatch had in its launch game. I think you could argue maybe that Overwatch's character variety is a lot of depth in there, a lot to learn, and characters play so differently from one another that counts as content in a way. But it wasn't very different in terms of like amount of maps, amount of modes, whatever. Star Wars Battlefront had a pretty decent amount of unlockables for the most part. Overwatch doesn't really have many, but besides skins and stuff, which whatever. The reason people bitch so much about Battlefront, and for anyone maybe still holding this opinion, maybe listen. The reason people bitch so much about Battlefront, and the reason people bitched about a lot of EA shooters that come out multiplayer only, is those games are announced at launch with a season pass that is another $50 fucking. That's the reason people bitch about those games. Like if the game was announced before it came out, $60 full price multiplayer game, but it's going to get 100% free post-launch support. There's no season pass. I think people would be a lot less willing to go, well, this game packs no value, because now when you announce out the gate that you're going to be giving post-launch support with this game, like Splatoon and like Overwatch, for $60, you're getting the game and years worth of updates for that one cost. Instead of going at Battlefront, you can spend the opportunity to spend $110 out the gate on Battlefront is fucking insane to ensure that your game is future-proof. That's why people bitched about Battlefront. That's why people bitch about EA games and other shooters that have season passes and like the Division and whatnot, is that in order to ensure that your game is future-proof, you're spending over $100. To ensure that your game is future-proof with Splatoon and with Overwatch, you're spending the base price. And so when a game comes out that's multiplayer only and is full price but offers free post-launch support, that's why people don't bitch about it the same way they bitch about Battlefront. So for anyone wondering about that, I saw so many tweets about it, and I couldn't respond to all of them because there's so many. Like, it's not hard to understand why. I understand if maybe you don't like Overwatch and, like, you know, you have a thing against it, and like, oh man, like, you know, your game got bitched at. Same thing with Street Fighter. You know, like Street Fighter's post-launch support is free as well. But like the reason people didn't bitch about Overwatch is because Blizzard has a pedigree and Blizzard knows what they're doing, and they've supported their game so well for so many years for free on top of paid expansions for their MMOs. But they aren't going to pull a Battlefront. There's a reason people bitched about it. I think it's easy to see. I don't think it's hard to understand. So that's my rant about that. Sorry.
So
anyway,
who are your main three? As someone who doesn't like FPSs, I think I know two.
Widowmaker, even though I'm shit with her. Junkrat, who I feel like I'm sort of capable with. And...
Oh, Junkrat's so fun. I forgot about Junkrat. Sorry. Oh, he's so fun. Go ahead, Abby. Sorry.
I'm trying to think of my last one anyway, so if you want to talk about Junkrat, that's fine.
Junkrat is so annoying to so many people because, like, that, first of all, there's so many things about him as a character that annoys people, I think, when they get killed by him, is the whole, like, like, the whole personality of Junkrat is so fucking zany, and I love it. And
Junkrat's my favorite character by
like,
far.
the
I just think
fact
he's really
that you
fun.
could, like, just pop the grenades in and from a distance and fuck people up, like, jumping over walls with his mines and the
oh my
tire.
god, we had a game once that was our whole team was Junkrat, and then we got countered by a whole team of, was it Varia?
Pink hair tank?
No, I got the wrong one. Farah, thank you.
The rocket
Samus lady.
Yeah.
Samus, yeah.
I think my issue
Right.
with Junkrat is I suck at him, and because I can't use grenade launcher type weapons ever, so when I die to a Junkrat, I can't work out if someone's very skilled with it or they're just spamming and it's just luck that I died, and that frustrates me.
A good thread. And I'm sorry for interrupting you behind your characters.
That's fine.
I recently got two friends into the game, and they've been playing it, and I play with them, and they're brand new to it, and they haven't played too many games like this with like characters with abilities and whatnot, and you know, my microphone, like my headphones are filled with them angry, like getting killed by ultimates, and like oh man, like I'm playing Reaper and I used my ultimate and I didn't get any kills, and this guy killed 8 people, and like the game is so deceptively simple in a way that, like, oh man, the ultimate is a one-hit kill button. You know, you press that button and you're just wrecking everybody. And like I feel like my friends have that idea in their head of like, oh, I can just walk in as Farah and use my rocket barrage and kill everybody like that guy did. But like, yeah, just his range. But there's a certain level of map knowledge, positioning, and knowing the character that is involved that isn't just easy. Like and that's what I love about it too, is like, yeah, some ultimates seem cheap, but there are ways to counter them. There are ways to get away from them, and ultimately pulling off a well-timed ultimate that wipes out 4 or 5 people isn't as easy. Well, sometimes it is, depending on how they're placed, but it isn't always as easy as just walking in and going button press and kill everybody. That's what I love about, like you're saying, Kinra, say you're not that great at Junkrat. Is my friends bitch about Junkrat that he's just a cheesy character to play and he's so easy to play as, but it's not so easy to aim those grenades the way that they are, like, you know what I mean, like, and position, like use his mind to knock someone into your trap and place the trap well, and use the mind to knock people off a point or whatever, and there's a lot of nuance to characters that maybe seem cheap to somebody playing the game for the first time, when really, like, it takes a certain amount of knowledge of the character to play the way you'd want them to, or the way you're seeing other players play them as. So like that's another thing I love about it.
I think I'm gonna blame my
characters who aren't cheesy to play as. There are some, but I mean, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say I think I'm gonna blame my lack of skill on the fact that I am playing at what I presume is 10% of the frames that Andy seems to play at, which I guess is like only double what most people play. I imagine most people are playing at either 30 or 60. So to be less than that is not ideal. So, yeah, I don't know. Did you think of a third one, Evie? Or are you just going to stick with Widowmaker and Junkrat? The answer's
either Bastion, but I've been having fun playing as Hanzo as well.
Hooray!
So
I'm glad.
it could be either of those two. It depends on my mood. If I feel like I want to be cheap and mean, then Bastion. Also, he has Bub. If I feel like I actually want to try and learn a bit of something, I'll play as Hanzo, probably.
Bastion's unfortunate because I did really enjoy like playing as him. I found him fun to play, but so many people are upset and salty about his existence. They're just like, anyone who plays as Bastion's a noob and should stop
like, literally,
and never play again.
If you play as Bastion and you're a high level, someone will be like, man, look at this noob who's level 45 but playing as Bastion. What a noob. Oh my god. Like, shut up.
That's one thing playing on console that I don't miss is text chat. And
oh
most
my god,
people
I had the best. I got the chance to play it for 2 hours the other day, and I kept getting put into the middle of games rather than like a new game entirely. So I joined this game, and I'm like, oh shit, it's like you gotta capture the point, and we're about to get defeated, and I'm at spawn, so I start running. I know I'm not gonna get anywhere. I start running. It ends in defeat. Guy comes in chat. Fucking Junkrat, useless piece of shit. I was like, I'd literally been there for 5 seconds before the defeat screen came up.
It is nice because most people don't plug their mics in on console, so you don't get bitched out ever, really. So it's nice. That's one thing I don't miss because I see a lot of screenshots on Reddit and I see a lot of horror stories about the way people act and chat and everything, and I can only imagine the way it is in ranked play right now on PC.
There was also a guy who was like, would you get on the point already? And I'm like, maybe if you stopped typing and started playing the game, you'd be on the point.
I've just remembered that like Matt and I experienced the most salty guy in the world, and he screen capped it, so I'm hoping that he still has it so that I can show you, but I can't show in description or on the video because it's incredibly inappropriate. But it was the most amazing thing to watch someone just fall apart.
Is Overwatch. What else have you guys been playing? I know you guys have been. I know Europe finally got Fire Emblem since the last time we did an episode.
Fucking finally.
And I'm not sure, but I think you might.
That, by the way,
I think
Abby?
you might enjoy that game, Abby. So I think now's a good time to let us know if that's true or not.
I fucking hate myself when I talk about Fire Emblem.
Do you want to like make it sound a bit more reasonable to like gush about it by starting with the super negative how you acquired the game, or are you going to forget about that?
Oh my god, okay. I've got to talk about how I eventually came into possession of a normal copy of this game. So the game's being released in sort of like 3 parts, I guess. So there's Birthright, there's Conquest, and there's Revelation. The cheapest way to get all of those games is to buy an all-in-one pack or a game with some download codes, rather than buying them individually and downloading Revelations, which is on the eShop only. So I decided that it would be in my best interest to pre-order the special edition. So I did that.
Which the Americans don't have, as far as I'm aware. It's a single cart with all the games on and some extra gubbins.
Yeah, single cart with all the games on. It comes with like a steel book, a map, an art book, I think.
Yeah. And also a poster, which might be what you think the map is. It's like a little mini poster.
Okay. So I ordered that way back when that went on up for pre-order.
Like Super Panic.
Probably March, maybe. So I had it on pre-order for like 2 months, and it sold out like instantly because everyone wanted it.
Yep.
And then it's getting closer to the release date. I'm like, right, got the money in my bank account. I've saved up especially to get Fire Emblem, so it's fine. And I get an email like 2 days before the game's release saying your payment could not, happen because my card details had changed. So I got a new bank card, and it cancelled everything that had that card attached to it that got cancelled. So I rang up Game, which is the place that I ordered it from, and I was on hold for probably about an hour. So I'm sat there on the phone, not really doing anything else because I don't want to be watching fucking Extreme Makeover Home Edition when they eventually answer the phone. So I'm on the phone for an hour. And then I get through to someone and I'm like, I need to replace my pre-order for Fire Emblem. And they say, you've rang the wrong department, so we're going to need to put you on hold again, but we'll get you through as fast as we can. Which then took another half an hour just to talk to someone. And I explained the situation to them, gave them all my new details, and I never heard anything from them. They were like, right, the payment's gone through. That's okay, so you'll be getting your game in the next couple of days. And I was like, sweet. My game never arrived. They never charged me. And I figure this is because the guy who I was on the phone with kept putting my name as, instead of Miss, putting me down as Mr. So my bank were rejecting the payment based on the fact that he put Mr. instead of Miss. And I was really upset, and I was in Birmingham, and I was like, okay, Andy, you're with me, right? We're gonna go to Game, and I'm gonna see if I can afford to buy Fire Emblem. So we went to Game, and they only had Conquest in, which was the one that I wanted to play second, and it was £40 for a game instead of 70 for all three in the special edition. So I was like, there's no way I can afford to pay for that, because that ends up, I think, being about £90 for all three games.
I think Revelations is 17. So it would have been 97, close to 100 quid anyway.
So how much is £100 in dollars?
It's probably only like $190 at the minute.
It's so £100 in dollars is $132.
Oh man, the pound has crashed so goddamn much.
Yeah, it was probably a little bit less then, but
it's probably about $150.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't afford to buy this game. So Andy was like, you know what? I'll lend you the money. We'll see if we can find it cheaper online. And I was like, maybe they'll have it on the Nintendo UK store. So we ordered it off of there. And I was like, great. I've ordered my game. I'm going to get the whole lot for 70 quid, which is fine.
They did do a very nice thing of realizing that they sold out the special edition, and the bundle that they did was, it's the same price. You pay for one physical copy of the game and you get the 2 download codes. You just don't get any of the free special edition-y stuff.
Yeah. And I got a t-shirt as well.
Screw you.
So the story's still not over. So I got a couple of days goes by, and they haven't dispatched my game that's been out for probably about a week at this point. And Andy was like, we'll probably have to ring them, I guess. So we rang them, and they had no copies of Fire Emblem in. They had sold out completely. So I had my download codes for Birthright and Revelations, and did not have the base game with which to use the download codes for. So I ended up having to wait probably about another week and a half before they got any stock in, before I eventually got my copy of the game.
Yeah.
Which was such a fucking ordeal to buy a normal edition of a video game. Like,
Wow.
It baffles my mind. Like,
I mean, I guess
I'm never ordering from Game Again. I'll say that right now. But Nintendo are actually quite helpful, I guess. So.
I mean,
I'm
I guess
not going to order from the online store. I will pre-order stuff in store still because that very rarely cocks up. You go into a store, you say, "I'd like this." They say, "Okay, we'll have this for you." You walk in with your monies. You walk out with the goods.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
I guess you could also blame it on the way they made the game, as well. Kind of.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's not the same. It's not the same as like a Pokemon version where it's like the same game twice. They are completely different games.
Yeah.
So at least I'm getting content for all the money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they can all fit on one cart. So why don't they sell it to me on one cart? I don't understand.
So all that aside, was it all worth the headache? Are you enjoying these new Fire Emblem games? Do they live up to your hype of Awakening? Because I know that became your favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I will say that I do not like it nearly as much as I like Awakening, but I don't quite know why, because it's got a bunch of extra features in it. They've nerfed a lot of stuff, so the game isn't nearly as easy as it used to be. And they've changed the way that support works and stuff. Like, they've changed a lot of things. It is a different game, in a way, from Awakening. But I think there was just something about finding Awakening and realizing how good it was that I had like no expectations going into it, whereas with Fates I had lots and lots of expectations.
Not helped by the fact that it's been out for months and months and months everywhere else, and everyone's been saying it is amazing, guys.
I don't want to bring it up too much, but the localization for this game is not great. In my own personal opinion. They've just changed a lot of stuff, and I know they've changed a lot of stuff because, you know, it doesn't make sense in the West or whatever. But they've also taken out features of the game, which led, like, the Japanese version has, like, 3,000 lines of dialogue, whereas it's 3,000 separate audio recordings that they put into the game. But in the West, it's only, like, 1,200, I think, because they've taken that much stuff out in terms of, like, the petting minigame and stuff that everyone liked to talk about. But they changed a lot of, like, dialogue and stuff. I don't think the localization is as bad in Europe as it is in America, though. Because apparently, like, some of the support conversations are actually broken in America.
I've not noticed anything too bad.
Like, if you YouTube Fire Emblem Fates, the best support conversation, if you look that up, it's literally two characters. This is in the Revelations story.
Okay.
They're both ninjas and both, like, assassins. And their entire C support conversation is just them saying ellipsis at each other. So it's just like ... other character ... other character ... and that's the whole support conversation. That's not good, considering the Japanese one was, like, really intense and dark and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like they did fuck up a lot on the localization, especially in America now that I'm reading into it. But, like, as a whole, the gameplay is, you know, it's Fire Emblem, it's fun, it's good.
Nice.
I'm trying to think what I should say about it, because I've been waiting for this game for a long time. So it's like I should probably think of something a little bit more.
Did you beat any of them? I
have beat Birthright.
Beat it yesterday, didn't you?
No, it was 5 days ago.
This week you beat it.
Yeah, it was this week that I beat it. And I've started playing Conquest. Conquest is much harder than I anticipated. Because everyone was like, there's like differences in the game. So in Birthright, the maps are laid out in ways that benefit you and are easier to understand. You can grind by scouting, and it has like other functions that I don't remember off the top of my head. But in Conquest, you cannot grind, and you have more, I don't know, intricate maps that benefit the enemy more,
Mhm.
rather than them benefiting you. So, yeah,
I have no shame in admitting I will probably play Conquest in Phoenix mode.
yeah, that's
I
fine.
don't even understand Phoenix mode other than people can come back during a fight. It's like, okay, yep. I play on casual as it is, so.
I really wish I was playing on casual in. I might start again, to be honest. I wish I was playing on casual in
I mean, you can drop it
Conquest
down.
because it's just. Yeah, I don't think you can change the mode that it's in.
Well, I guess I'm only seeing it from Birthright's perspective, where it says you can lower the difficulty, you just can't raise it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll probably. Maybe I'll start another playthrough of it and just do it on casual because I just at this point I've had so much spoiled for me that I just want to finish the story. And then I'll go back and be like, okay, let's min-max the characters. Everybody get ready for the most loveless marriages just so you can have amazing children. And maybe that's what I'll do because at this point I'm on chapter 13 and I am getting so frustrated. It's unreal because I was on a train ride for about 4 hours today. I was on trains for about 4 hours today trying to do the same fucking chapter and I cannot do it. Because the thing with Fire Emblem is a lot of it is like RNG dependent. Like there's a lot of chance and stuff and sometimes it goes in your favor. So you think, yeah, I'm doing this right. So when you do your next run, you do the exact same thing, but it's got a different outcome. Which, you know, it's good as a game mechanic. Frustrating when you've been stuck on the same spot for so long, though. I'm trying to think what else I should mention. I like Birthright characters more. I am Team Hoshido. Forever and ever and ever.
I realised today that I cocked up royally. Because I married the Avatar off to someone that I thought made sense in terms of the story. And then yesterday, Nintendo released a DLC map where you get Anna, who I have previously married and realised it was the best decision I ever made. And the only support rank that she can gain is with you. And so basically I married the wrong woman. And I can't divorce her, and I've already had 2 kids, so I'm gonna have to start over.
There's a big flaw with the games, which is if you play as the male avatar, and you marry a woman that can have S rank support with another character, you cannot get all the children in that game.
Oh.
If you were to marry Anna, you would be fine.
There's not enough women to go around.
There are not enough women in the game. Like, I don't know why they didn't think that through, because in Awakening, there was a spare man, because it was the women that had the children, but this time the men are the ones that have the children tied to them instead of the women. So there was always a spare dude if you played as a girl. So there would be just enough characters if you
fortunately, I'm not going for 100% characters because getting children is a ball ache.
There is also like I don't want to spoil it, but there is the most bullshit thing in the game that really upset me when I figured out what I'd done wrong.
Is it the thing that you told me about?
What did I tell you about?
To raise support with someone.
Yes.
Okay, I'm yet to work out why that is the case, but I have now done it.
Can I talk about it? Because it's bollocks and it upsets me and I really need to vent.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the game's been out for a while in America and...
okay, so mute if you don't want to hear anything for the Birthright.
I'll put a timestamp for when you're done.
Yeah. So there is a character in the game called Kaze, who I didn't really think much of. I was going to eventually get around to my supports with him because I like to get as many supports as I possibly can. And I got to a certain chapter in the game where, because I hadn't reached A rank support with him, he died for no reason and did not come back.
Okay.
He just disappears from the game. And everyone else is like, oh man, Kaze does this really cool thing. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's dead in my playthrough. Like, I'm relatively sure he's dead.
I don't even see. I mean, I guess I'll get to it eventually, but I can't
I
see
don't know why the power of friendship would save him. I don't understand.
So the information you gain through the support bears no meaning on why he does or does not die, from what you can tell. It's just purely
I don't
because you
know.
were friends.
He died before I could support with him. I only
Oh,
got
so
to
you've not?
zero
I thought you
support.
reloaded and just grinded.
No, I um because people had been mentioning him. I realise now they were playing Conquest and not Birthright.
Oh,
But they were mentioning him. I just thought, oh, he'll
probably comes back.
probably come back. So I just carried on until it was Cam who said, Eddie, you were right, he's gone. But the worst part is, you could have saved him. And I was like, this is shit. This is the worst. So yeah, that annoyed me. There are like a lot of tiny little things in this game that bug me, whereas Awakening didn't have as many things that bugged me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, I'm annoyed that they localized Henry the way that they did. That's about it for Awakening. I think it's a near perfect game. My only literally my only gripe with that game, other than the Henry thing, is that some characters can't support with other characters, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
With Fates, it's just like, oh man, if this was a bit different, or oh, if this was a little bit different, oh man, if they didn't add that little feature in. And it took me like a whole game to get used to the fact that supports don't work the same way that they used to.
I'm halfway through Birthright, and I really don't like supports.
So the way that supports used to work is you used to pair up two characters, and usually if your support rank was high enough, both characters would get the chance to attack a single character.
And thus both gain experience.
Whereas that is not the case in this game. Supports instead have a chance to guard you from attacks. And they have like a little shield underneath the HP thing, so when all of those are filled up in blue, they will definitely block an attack.
Yeah. From what I understand, it seems to be that only builds as the person you're supporting gets beat on. So
yes, either gets beat up, gets attacked at and misses, or anything, or if they attack.
Okay.
Or if they attack.
I hadn't noticed the you doing the active thing of attacking. It was only like on a defensive thing. If you failed to block with your support, it gained an increased chance to block the next time.
That would be so badly designed.
That's why I was getting so pissed off, because I'm like, this is the same thing as what happened with Uncharted. You played Awakening last year.
Yes.
You were still playing it recently, but you'd been playing it for a lot longer. I finished Awakening, and then the next week was playing Fates. And so I was so used to how support worked and how, like, okay, these characters are a bit crap right now. I'll pair them with this other guy who's a bit more competent, and every now and again they'll they'll get involved and they will attack and they'll gain experience and they can get better. Nope. Now
the way that you can do it that way is you can stand characters next to each other, next to an enemy, and attack them that way. But
then the weak ass people,
you.
yeah, and the weak people die so easily. It's just like, well, there's like 6 characters now that I've just decided I am not bothering with you anymore. In Awakening, there were 3 or 4 that I thought, you're a bit crap, but I can at least work around it.
Yeah.
And I got them up to high enough level that I felt like, okay, I can Master Seal you and make things a bit better again. At this point, I'm just like, well, damn.
Our seals work differently now as well.
Yeah.
There are so many different types of seals that it's honestly kind of confusing. So there's like the Master Seal, which is obviously a class change to upgrade whatever class you are currently in. Mm-hmm. In the free DLC, you got 2 other brands, being the ones that made you into a Lord or Great Lord, and one that made you into a Lodestar, which is Lucina and Marth's classes.
Okay.
Then there's the Heart Seal, which changes what you are based on your personality. There's the
Yeah.
friendship seal, which changes your class based on who your best friend is in the game, because they've added in A+ supports, which basically means they're your bestie. So if you wanted, you could make all of the characters possible, all of the male characters possible, best friends with the butler, and then change every single one of them to be a butler if you wanted to.
Why did I not know about this?
And then there's the offspring seal, which children come with when you get past a certain chapter, so that you can master seal them straight away, and it like keeps their level similar to what they're at, so you can.
So you
Like,
don't
for
have to grind
example,
the
I
first
got
one.
Ryoma's son, and he came with an offspring seal, but because my Ryoma was so high level, his son came into the game at about level 17. I used the offspring seal on him, and he was a second stage level 17 character, so I didn't have to
wow.
grind with him, which is amazing.
nice.
That's such a good feature. And then there's a heart. Have I mentioned the heart seal?
There's a partner seal.
Partner seal, that's the other one.
There are
which
actually
I think,
also a couple more.
I think that base changes your class based on who you are married to.
Yeah, you become the same class as them.
And I think that's all of them, which is tons. There
are a couple more.
Considering it used to be second seal and master seal, as far as I'm aware. What are the other ones?
I've come across a couple which are, I can't remember the name of them, but there's like, use this seal to turn into this class. So it's like a class specific. You will now become this guy.
That's what the Exalt seal is, and whatever the one.
I think one was called like an Ebony seal or something, and you turn into some kind of Dark Rider or whatever. So yeah,
there's so much to talk about with this game. Actually, now that I think about it, I love the new classes. Like, they've introduced a bunch of new classes that probably won't be in the next game, because it's like implied that this takes place way, way, way before Awakening. We're talking like thousands and thousands of years before. Because when you go into the like free DLC, you'll go, "Oh, I'm from the Kingdom of Nora and Hoshido," and Crom will go, "The Legendary Kingdoms," and then just like it's brushed off really, really quickly.
Fair enough.
So
I've not touched that.
Although in the DLC, oh my god, I had like such a stupid hope for a bit, and I know they were just referencing Awakening, but they were like, "Man, it'd be really nice if we got to see each other again." And I'm like, what if the next game is all of the characters? I'll die.
Oh, was that in like one of the Amiibo conversations? Said something similar?
No. You got the Before Awakening DLC for free.
Yes.
I
loaded it. I lost 3 units, and I was like, okay, I'll come back later.
If you manage to do it without Crom, Lissa, or Frederick retreating, you get some stuff, like some seals to make you cool, I guess. When I loaded that DLC, I nearly started crying, because the music and the characters and just everything just made me want to play Awakening all over again.
I will say I'm a little, probably physically impossible, but I kind of wish that tapping the Robin amiibo would work out if you owned Awakening and then pull your Robin in.
That would be really awesome. That would be really, really cool. Because I actually haven't used the Robin amiibo, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume it's the default male Robin that they used.
Yeah, it's the one that the amiibo is of. So it's like, well, that's okay, but that's not the Robin I know.
Like that with the Corrin amiibo, when that comes out, like you can tap it in to save your Corrin onto it.
Maybe. Because I genuinely thought that there was something like that in the game, because when you tap the Lucina one in, she says Kinros, for some reason, because my character's name is Kinros, for some reason that name is comforting to me, and I'm like, it knows that I used the same name in both games. No, I presume not. That would have been so cool.
It is little stuff like that I really wish that there was some sort of crossover amiibo functionality. The other thing is that I wish the Roy amiibo worked with it, which it doesn't.
Oh, does it not?
No.
Okay.
Because Ike works, Lucina works, Marth works, and Robin works. It's just those 4, not Roy. And I don't know if there's going to be any Corrin functionality, because we haven't got it yet. So.
And also because you're playing as Corrin.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want it to have like a functionality where it will copy your Corrin
Right.
onto the amiibo, so that in a future game, when you tap the Corrin amiibo on, your dude pops up,
Yeah.
and that'd be cool. That stuff would be cool.
I feel like as I say, I'm only halfway through. You're about a quarter of the way through the second one. I feel like even though I don't have any sort of 3DS capture thing, that once we're done with all three, that I'd quite like to do a proper thing like we did with Star Fox and Pokken of just a video talking about Fire Emblem Fates.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Just because I imagine Bill is
like
currently
inspired
dead.
me. I really want a 3DS capture device so I can do different runs of it. Like, there's a feature in the game. I promise we'll stop talking about it soon, Bill. There's a feature in the game called My Castle, which is where you can go and visit your friends' castles
like
and go
Animal
and speak to their
Crossing.
troops and stuff.
You should play Fire Emblem Fates, Bill. It's like Animal Crossing.
It's one of the it's one of the features I was most interested in when hearing about it, is that you can build your own castle.
So
and visit other
you
castles.
can visit other people's castles, and if you gift them things and they gift you things, you'll create a unit based on both of you. So you have what I like to call a bond baby. They're called bond units.
Oh, is that what those hideous things are?
Yeah, so it just like takes traits from for example, me and Pat. It'll take traits from Pat, it'll take traits from me, it'll put them together and make a baby. And it'll have like a random class, random skills, and all of that stuff's really cool. And I would love to do a run, like stream a run one day of me just doing a playthrough with nothing but bond units.
Okay, thank you for finally telling me how that worked, because I don't like those markings on the face, they annoy me. So I've been trying desperately to not bond with people in any way.
Just don't give them...
No, I didn't know that it was a castle thing. I thought that it was like, oh, if I get to S rank with someone, or A+ rank, also do the thing in the treehouse where I gain hearts with people, that eventually it's suddenly going to put these hideous marks on their face. So I'm glad that it's not that.
They're just randomly generated characters that don't have, like, spider.
Squirrel.
Oh, fuck.
Well, you found it again, at least.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Hold on. It's climbing up the wall behind my dead elf. I can't get you when you do that.
Smash the dead elf.
It's your time. No, spider, come on. I don't want to kill you. Don't make me kill you.
Just put a cup over his head.
That's what I'm trying to do. He's behind the dead elf. Hold on. Can you just talk for a second?
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself. I'll be back.
All right. So I seem to recall, Bill, that you were going to play or had started Awakening. I don't know if you had talked about this. I briefly left whilst Debbie was telling her story. I don't know whether you'd said that you'd made any progress or given up.
I don't remember if I mentioned this before we started the episode. But I did start for Awakening again recently. By recently, I mean like 4 months ago. I had played it up to about chapter 12 at one point.
I do remember hearing... I feel like it was on an episode before I'd shown up that you were talking about. Because everyone was in like a big Awakening thing of...
Yeah, I was playing it. It's just I stopped, and then I restarted because it's been so long, you know, and
it's a JRPG.
I ended up doing a thing where all my units were so low level besides one guy, because I would pair them up.
Yeah.
Was it Crom who was really strong because you always have to use him?
It was Crom and Frederick, who were just bomb-ass sexy, and they would just fuck everything up.
Yeah, pretty much.
By the way, Crom is my favourite. Please never say anything bad about him. He's my husband. I married him. We have 2 children.
He's your Elena Fisher, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we had Morgan and we had another baby that I'm not going to say the name of because it's a spoiler, so...
I keep forgetting about Morgan. Because I unlocked all the children, but I never
captured
them. I couldn't be asked with their side quests because they were.
So
is
there anything else you guys have been playing?
I feel like in 4 months I probably have. Evie talked about Twilight Princess a bit.
I went back to Animal Crossing.
Nice.
Because I didn't have anything else to do because I didn't have Fate, so I was like,
yeah,
I'll play Animal Crossing. I started playing Happy Home Designer, realised that wasn't what I wanted, so went back to Animal Crossing, and I just want a new Animal Crossing game.
I think you guys should play my favorite strategy RPG of all time,
XCOM 2.
Valkyria Chronicles.
No.
Do I own that game?
I own it on Steam, and
I feel like I own it.
It's been on
It
sale for
doesn't
like
run.
$3 1,000 times.
Yeah, I own it.
Oh yeah, you got your super fancy special edition in a tin case box, didn't you?
I got the remaster on PS4 as well as the PC version. I bought the game like 4 times. The reason I bought it 4 times because I bought it once and then it was stolen from my house, so I bought it again, used from GameStop, which I think was the one that was stolen from my house and had the same nick in the box. So whoever stole it from my house sold it to GameStop for probably $6, and then I rebought it. So I bought that version again. Then I bought it on Steam, and then they just remastered it for PS4, which is the first PlayStation version ever to have trophies because the PlayStation 3 version did not have trophies. And it came with a really fancy, beautiful steelbook, probably my favorite looking steelbook ever. And I'm playing through it again, and that game is so goddamn good. And you guys should play it. I feel like Ebby would really enjoy it.
I've got so many things
likely.
I need to finish already, and I feel like this is not going to be a short game.
It's
But-
long.
Let's find out, shall we?
Wait, I'm gonna check. Average.
What was the
Playtime.
game called?
I'm gonna guess 34 hours for just campaign.
How long to beat?
How long is Valkyria Chronicles?
Oh, Valkyria. It is.
We're getting.
Oh my god, the lag of my computer. It's not loading this one page because we're all opening it once now.
Yeah, I actually think that website's just borked.
Damn, that's like the most reliable website.
There it is.
30
31 and a half for the main story.
That's not the
That's
remaster.
actually not terrible.
That's like a
But
Fire Emblem game.
You will have
Average
to,
time 50 hours.
You will have to do some of the side stuff, or the last few missions will fuck you up for life. So I would roughly say about 45.
It really is struggling.
Is a good bit.
Honestly, for a JRPG, well, I don't know if it is a JRPG.
I mean, it's in Japanese and it looks like an RPG.
Japanese role-playing strategy turn-based game.
Yeah, it's in third person as well. So, you know.
I don't feel like that's terrible.
You could do it.
I'm pretty sure they have cutscenes in fucking Eternal Sonata that are longer than that. So
It is my favorite combat by far in any strategy RPG. I think it's such a brilliant system.
okay,
and-
we'll do a trade. You play Fire Emblem. I'll play Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay.
I don't know when I'll play it because
do-
I've got to
you
finish
do-
Fire Emblem.
You do own
but
it.
I do own it, yeah.
I'll start it after you beat Valkyria Chronicles twice.
No. No. I don't agree to these terms.
During super secret plan times, what we'll do is we'll set you both down. And because they're both of a similar length, you start at the same time, you race.
Da-da-da-da.
And I'll be there the entire time, just adjudicating.
But
You
yeah,
have
no,
to
it's
play
great.
on classic mode, no casual mode.
Oh!
Hey!
No, I'm just saying I still have to reset a bunch and it'll take him longer.
Oh, okay. I mean, I still reset a couple of times. Actually, I can tell... Speaking of games that we've gone back to... Ebby can't kill me for this anymore. I am playing Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh.
For the 5th time. But this time, I'm streaming it. So it's a bit more bearable. Somewhat.
It's nice when you have other people in the chat who can explain things like tension to you, because I forget that tension's a thing most of the time.
Yeah, it's nice because whilst we were in Japan, I was asking Evie to tutorialize me on Xenoblade, and
I'd lost my patience for it completely. I was like, I don't know anymore.
because I think that the issue was that I was badly explaining the issue that I was having, and then it was like, how do I fix this? And Evie would tell me. The benefit of streaming, aside from the fact that every now and again someone other than Ebby will show up, is that rather than me trying to explain it, Ebby can actually see what the hell's going on and where I'm falling apart and not noticing something, and then be like, "Oh, by the way, you should probably consider doing this." It's like, Oh, okay. I still have my similar issues at the moment of the grind, but someone has now explained to me that probably part of the reason that I was failing at the grind was because in my mind I can't defeat anything that is of equal level to me. It has to be at least 3 or 4 levels lower for me to have a chance. But apparently at that point, the experience you get is like 10% of someone on the same level as you. So that's why it was taking me forever, is because I was actually killing stuff that was significantly too low.
The grind for Xenoblade Chronicles is stupid in a lot of ways. Like, I really love the game, but I didn't enjoy grinding. Like, I'd get stuck on places and I'd be like, I've got to grind, but there's nothing for me to, get decent experience out of, because not only do you get basically no experience from things that are a lower level than you because you take like a experience penalty for it.
Yeah.
But the fights take ages. I love the fight system, like the battle mechanics in that game are great. I think they're really unique and stuff, but it takes a really, really long time to do it.
Unless you're killing things that are not worth literally not worth killing.
Yeah, basically. Because I went through on New Game Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I went through Connolly 9. So I was like, I need to kill some bunnets for something. And it would literally be like, /, yeah, too slow. Like, it'd just be over that fast.
Yeah.
And it's not beneficial to me at that point, though, because I don't gain any experience whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, I am level 90, so...
I mean, that's the other bonus of doing things as a stream, is that things feel less monotonous when you're talking aimlessly and just having like a slightly delayed conversation with someone. Whereas if I'm sat playing the game, it's just like I become hyper aware of how long everything takes, to the extent where it feels longer than it actually is, and that doesn't make for a good play experience. Whereas if I'm talking, it's just like, oh, those 3 hours went by pretty quickly. Sure, I didn't make any progress, like physically in terms of the game, but I've actually leveled up and I can actually move on. I think prior to this run, the longest I could stand to play the game was half an hour. So
I would be interested in one day, in my dream situation where I can stream video games, I would be interested in probably picking it up for the Wii and playing through it again.
Japanese audio is nice too.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's dual audio, and also getting a new 3DS modded is incredibly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to buy another new 3DS because they are not touching my Majora's Mask 3DS.
Yeah.
With their I'm gonna ruin your infrared capture devices.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm trying to think what else I've played. I feel like I must have done. I've been playing Clanad. I'm not very far in that.
Kidros, you had a tweet the other day and it cracked me up.
My God, I finally did it. A humorous tweet. 36,000 tweets, and I did it.
It was like, oh, I'm gonna play something that cheers me up. Maybe I'll play Clanad, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's like the furthest like story. I mean,
that's spoilers, maybe.
But
that's not till like 80 hours into the game.
It just cracked me up. Like, I just read that. I'm like, that's like the biggest.
Oh, when I was saying that I had a rough day or something, I need to stream something to pick me up. Maybe it'll be Xenoblade or Clanad.
Clanad. I'm like, oh, Clanad, that'll just destroy you. Yeah, it cracked me up. How's the visual novel, by the way? I've only ever seen the anime, so I don't know. How the game
I'm really not very far in at all. But I picked it up because it was on sale. Steam sales.
Steam sale.
I haven't bought anything this sale.
Me neither. I haven't opened Steam in 3 months.
I've had 3 games bought for me.
Ooh.
Because Kinross bought me Clanad, and then I got gifted a copy of Quiplash, which apparently I didn't need.
No, only one person needs to own Quiplash.
So there's that, and also, oh bloody hell, what's it called? Learn Japanese to survive hiragana battle.
Yeah.
Which is where you learn Japanese and fight against Japanese characters. As in, like, characters
ABC
from the alphabet.
type thing, yeah. But only in hiragana.
Which I'm not very far in, but...
As for the visual novel, I have... Because I know... If I had never heard of this game at all, I would probably be playing it slightly differently. Like, I know that... to some extent, actually paying attention to roots and things is important. So I'm like... I've had 4... like, moments where... it's like the bloody Telltale games. It's like, this choice might be important. It's probably not. But in this case, choices are apparently important. And I'm like, should I do this or should I do that? And I've had like 5 moments like that. And so I've already used 5 of my 100 saves. And I'm like an hour into the game. I'm like, no, this is going to be impossible to keep track of. I'm enjoying it. I forgot how bloody creepy weird the eyes are. Those things are huge.
The art for Clannad is not good. Like,
yeah, it's not.
It's not good.
It's kind of wish that they might have redone some of it.
I've seen images from the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a pretty game, which it baffles me why they didn't redo the graphics, because they did it for Higurashi when that eventually got a re-release.
Mm-hmm.
They redid everything because that game was like, I probably could have drawn it better. That's how bad it looked.
That's the episodic one at the moment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's
honestly, I could probably do better at this point. Some of it's quite nice, but a lot of it is hideous. Particularly, I can't remember her name, which is unfortunate, but like main girl and blonde guy. They are currently the ones that I'm...
Nagisa?
Yeah.
And...
I want to say Tomoyomi, but that's not his name at all. It begins with a T.
It begins with an S, doesn't it?
Sunohara.
Sunohara.
So far, the 2 characters that I see the most are like the most badly drawn characters. I'm like, oh, goddamn. So I'm just paying attention purely to the text box and listening to the voices and the music. I kind of wish that the game came with like a soundtrack DLC. It doesn't seem to, which upsets me, because I've only heard like 4 songs. And I'm like, I want this so bad.
Have you seen the anime, Kenros?
Have
you seen the anime? Sorry,
yes.
Abby, I cut you off.
Yes, I have.
That's fine.
Okay, so you know the soundtrack's incredible. In general,
I don't really remember all that much
that
of the
fucking game starts
soundtrack.
off with is so good.
The whole Clannad, at least the anime soundtrack, and I'm almost positive the game
remember much of the anime.
maintains. I think the game has the same music.
You know the song that plays when you see like those glimpses into the other world.
Do, do. I think it's that song, or no,
Well,
maybe not.
Yes,
game
it's
starts
like
off with
a
that.
weird choral,
Yeah.
ethereal thing. Yeah, it starts with that.
Yeah, it's so good. Clannad soundtrack's so goddamn good. When I hear it, like I'm almost sad. I want to play the game eventually, because I love the Clannad series in general, and knowing that the songs are in there, I knew the soundtrack was the same. And it hypes me up because like I'm a big Clannad fan. I know a lot of people bring it down because of how popular it is and whatever, but Clannad is so fucking good. The music is so good. Oh.
I can't wait to play more of it. I just haven't had time in the minute.
Like, honest
I'm
to
gonna
God,
sit down like in a couple of days and just play through like the prologue and just see how long that takes me. So
Yeah.
Like
I
the
do
thought of sorry, can I?
Sorry, I was going to say that I do wish that I could stream it, but there are physically too many female voices for me to act. I cannot do that. But like the first time you meet Nagisa, there's like this fairly quiet Dango tune. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to progress the conversation at the moment. I'm just going to put both my headphones on, which is a rare thing for me to do, and just enjoy the music. And it's just, I'm having this first conversation with someone. It's the first like line of dialogue, and I can't remember what she says, but it's something completely meaningless. But because I'm not progressing the conversation, the music's getting more and more intense, and it's building up, and it's like, this is great music, not fitting for the scene right now. But I don't want to leave. Fortunately, it plays every time she shows up, so
It's just a bit disappointing that like whenever they have really cool games like this that actually make it to the West, they don't have the cool extras like you can buy the soundtrack or whatever. Like
You
a
can
couple
for like
of them have it.
$100.
Amnesia Memories had it, but you had to buy the special edition, which didn't come with the game. Which is honestly weirdest special edition for a game ever. Is it
It's so
to not
special
come with
it
the
doesn't
game?
come with it.
And I think the only other one that I can think of that has it is a Korean one called Dandelion, because I had to buy it to make a video. So, but I really wish that they would do cool stuff like that.
Yeah. I have wondered if they don't, for reasons of people would just read track lists. But then Clannad is such an old game, and people know the anime, that there shouldn't really be anything left to spoil. I won't.
That's what has me so excited, like at the thought of me playing the game, and even playing the Steins Gate game. Is that like I love the anime so much, and like the thought of diving deeper into those worlds, like and getting more depth out of it, excites me. Like when I think of playing Clannad, and like exploring the other girls more than I would have. I mean, the anime, all the arcs in the anime are pretty great, but like exploring more of their story and everything, and even Steins Gate, going deeper. Like I want to play Steins Gate as well at some point because I bought that on sale on the Vita. I haven't played it yet.
Can I quickly ask? Sorry.
Yeah.
I have now gotten rid of my way to play Steins Gate, but I have not finished the anime.
Steins Gate's on PC too, isn't it?
Not sure.
On Steam?
It's PS3. I know, but my
I don't
question.
think it is on PC.
I'm thinking of Danganronpa. Sorry.
Yeah, Danganronpa's come out. Should I dig out my PS3 and find a copy of it on PS3, or should I finish the anime first?
You know what? To be honest with you, it's tough because I'm sure people who play the game first will say like play the game, but I mean like instead of spending the money on the game, you know what I mean? Like you might not even like it. So I mean, you watch the anime. I would say the anime is great. I mean, there's a reason the anime is so critically acclaimed. As far as I know from people who played the game, the anime does a great job of adapting the story. So, I would say just watch the anime for now. I mean, there might be some people who listen to this and go like, "Bill, what are you doing?" Like, but the anime is probably a lot shorter than the game, and well,
just a bit.
Yeah. So I would say finish the anime, and if you like the anime and you want to dive deeper into the world, I think the game, because the game has multiple routes too. So I mean, watching the anime won't necessarily ruin the game for you. Just like when I think of playing Clannad, like I think of like, okay, the anime explored the main route of Clannad. I think like, well, man, like I'm gonna instinctively want to go down that main route. I think because I love Nagisa and like and I love that story, but there's so much more in the game, you know, that isn't just the Nagisa route, or like in Steins Gate, I'm sure isn't just whatever route they went in that. So I think you can watch the anime and safely play the game as well. If you like the anime, I would say do it that way. How much of the anime have you seen?
I will probably be slaughtered for saying it, but when they go, I guess potential spoilers. When they go back to Akihabara, and it's not Akihabara anymore. It's not all electronic-y. And everyone's like, how did you stop there? And it's pretty much the same thing as with Death Note, where I stopped at the bit, and they're like, why did you stop at that bit?
Yeah, that's a cool bit. But yeah, no, I would say finish it. You're already that far, so.
I'll have to restart it, but.
That's true. But I would take pleasure in doing that. Anyway, I think it's everything we've played, yeah? I think. Just about?
I feel like I had something else to mention other than Animal Crossing.
Well, you briefly talked in E3 about Twilight Princess, which you've never actually played before, but...
I've played it before, I've never finished it before.
Okay. I thought you had never played it.
I played it on the GameCube. So it looks how I remember it looking. Which is,
oh, really?
You know, not mirrored.
Oh, right. I was going to say, you can't tell the difference between the HD version and the GameCube version. Okay.
I think it's alright so far. I just think it's got a lot of fucking stupid, pointless mechanics in it that upset me.
Yeah, it's
like, we're going to put sumo wrestling in it. Why?
Yeah, that game
No
is...
one asked for sumo wrestling to be in Zelda. Like,
Twilight Princess is full of, like, one-off things. Like, you will never sumo wrestle again. A lot of the dungeon items are single-use, purely in that dungeon, and that's it. They're just in your
is
inventory
that why
forever.
there's so many goddamn items in the game?
Yes. Yeah. I think
Like, I'm probably going to get more into it, and I'm probably going to finish it, and I'll probably really like it, but I think it's just going to be one of those things that I pick up now and again to sort of tide me over until
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, or Breath
Yeah.
of the Wind, as Nintendo like to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's some... I'm only pressuring myself to remember because we have no idea when we're going to next record again. It'll probably be Christmas.
Could be.
I guess if I can't remember it, it's not important.
Yeah, no sense in enforcing it if you can't remember.
In 4 months, I inevitably have played more, but yeah, I cannot remember them.
I think the problem is since the last podcast, I've been playing so much Fire Emblem. Like, I'm going to play some Awakening before Fates comes out. I'm going to 100% Awakening before Fates comes out.
How's that going?
At the minute, I don't know where it is because
Oh.
I'm in the midst of cleaning my room, but I got about 85% of the way there,
Oh, wow.
which is all supports, maxing all the characters out and stuff. So
Nice.
it's been fun because I know a lot more about the characters than most people seem to. Like, you know, sort of casual. I don't want to say casual as in like filthy casual, just like more casual fans of Fire Emblem, and then I can be like, oh man, but there's this really cool thing like in Fire Emblem Awakening. If you get these two characters to B rank support, it drops a little hint of something else, and I get to be that person that's like a little bit knowledgeable on support conversations and stuff because I'm not good at the mechanics of Fire Emblem. Like Cam is very, very good at min-maxing his characters, and I think in his Awakening run, he gave pretty much all of his characters Gale Force, which means when you kill an enemy, you get to move again.
Oh, wow.
So his units were like completely broken. They nerfed that in Fate with a quickness because it broke as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'll stop talking about Fire Emblem now. I just like to go back to it every so often. Sorry, Bill.
There's nothing wrong with talking about Fire Emblem.
I should have listened to Yokorama when we first started doing this podcast because he was like, yo, you should play Fire Emblem Awakening because I think you'll really like it. And I was like, yeah.
He did say that.
He did say that, yeah. I think about that every time I play Fire Emblem. I'm like, he was right, you know?
Pretty sure we said the same thing to Bill and he's still not played some stuff. Hashtag buy Metroid.
Not true at all. I beat all the Metroid Prime games 2 days ago.
Oh, did you? What did you think?
Yeah, I streamed it on twitch.tv/social eating.
Okay.
I ate those games alive.
Okay.
I didn't play any Metroid
I
games.
guessed.
But anyway.
Sorry, I did a yawn because it's midnight.
Yes.
My midnight yawn.
Oh crap, I've got a stream tomorrow. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay. You're fine.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm opening my my draw on Grand Blue Fantasy. I'm getting some items. Ooh. Holy shit.
Oh, we could talk about Miitomo for a split second.
Oh yeah.
Lots of rares.
That came
Wow,
out.
look at these weapons I'm getting.
Bill, shut up. We're talking about Miitomo. That hit game
Holy
that came
shit.
and went.
What do you think of
glad
Miitomo?
I'm glad I went back to Grand Blue Fantasy. Look at
did
these.
Bill mute us?
fucking items.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh my god, look at these.
Oh my
I
god.
don't know whether he's muted us or he just doesn't want to listen. Doesn't want to talk about Miitomo at all. He doesn't want to.
I am joking with you guys right now.
I got a Link costume and I'm really happy.
I got a super awesome bikini, and then 2 months later, everyone was like, "Please don't do this." I'm like, "I've not done it for months." It's amazing.
Look, the feed on Miitomo is a little bit difficult to read sometimes.
Yeah. I think that as it's Nintendo's first big mobile thing. Like they've put Pokemon Shuffle up and Pokemon Go
Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing to the phones
in some form. Yes.
in a form. I don't know what
I'm
that means.
excited.
So...
I'm excited for that. I guarantee you the
It'll
Fire
be
Emblem game will
Miitomo version
probably
3.
the Fire Emblem game will likely be like every other mobile RPG, like Token Rambo or Grand Blue Fantasy or Final Fantasy Brave Exvius or whatever, where you draw characters and you get like S-rank characters and whatever. And
I would pump so much of my time and money into that game if there was like if they had like cards for characters and you could get like an SR.
It's Fire Emblem Cypher,
I'd
but
be
a
like,
mobile
I
game.
gotta go. I gotta go to there. I just gotta go. It could be the worst game ever if it had like a really rare Crom thing in it. I'd be like, okay.
It was very popular for about a week. It was a lot of fun.
And then Nintendo clearly doesn't know what to do with it.
I think it'll make more sense. I think if they made it like Line, but for Nintendo's games.
I love Miitomo.
What, as like a platform rather than a thing in itself.
Yeah, I think they should build off of it rather than make it its own standalone thing.
I love the idea of Miitomo. I love what it had everybody. I mean, everybody's enraptured by it for the first 2 weeks, and I think their base is sound like it's fine. But my few problems with it: one, it's really clunky, and it takes a while to kind of get going. Like every day, like you check your daily stuff, and like there's just it's a little bit long-winded in terms of loading it up and going from thing to thing and whatever, and especially adding friends and removing friends and stuff. Like the friends list functionality is pretty slow. Like I ended up having a lot of friends through Reddit and NeoGAF and stuff, and like that's great. I was able to read a lot of interesting answers, and maybe the allure of the game being just my friends was taken away by doing that, but I enjoyed that a lot. But what ended up happening was accepting all those friend requests takes forever because you can't just like accept all or whatever. You can't check boxes. You accept one and it goes to a long loading thing, and then you accept it, and then it loads your friends list all the way back at the start or whatever. Or it's just a really cumbersome process.
I check it every now and again still. I mean, obviously no one's answered any questions, but I'll spend a little bit of time on the drop.
I think that's the problem is that if no one's answering questions, there's not tons to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be interested in seeing how they are going to implement like whatever Club Nintendo replacement they were supposed to be implementing through. I
mean, they have. I got a free game.
Did you?
Yeah, I got Twilight Princess Picross.
Did you?
Yeah, you in the game.
Oh yeah.
There's like there's My Missions or something. It's called My Nintendo or something similar. There's like 2 ways of doing things at the minute. Well, 2.5. There's gold coins, which are linked to money you spend in the eShop, accrues coins, and after you get a certain number of coins, you can get discounts on certain games on the eShop. It's like 40-50% off, which is quite nice, but all the games are things that I've already got or don't care about. And it requires me to spend money on the eShop. And then the other is like you either get silver coins or in this case Miitomo coins, and they can both be used for the same things. Like silver coins and Miitomo coins can be used similarly, and you get them for completing various missions within the game, like answering 5 questions, listening to 10 answers, changing your costume daily, and all this stuff. And you accrue coins, and you can cash it in for costumes, or I don't know if it's still up there, but actually I'll load it up and I'll tell you what we have available. I got a free Picross game, as I say. Where are my rewards, please? New rewards. Yeah, you get. For 50 Miitomo coins, you can get Link's bow and arrow from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that sort of stuff. Because I've gotten Splatoon tanks and I've got his bow.
Yeah, you can get discounts off various games. Okay, they have actually changed how it works, but yeah, you can get free games, discounts on games, themes. So at the moment, it's not fantastic. You can cash in your reward points for gameplay tickets. So.
Yeah, I think I've used some of those when I've been desperate to get stuff, like with the Splatoon stuff.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's bare bones, but it's there, and it looks like it could be. Like some people feel like Xbox achievements aren't. I mean, they give you a number, but there's no real value to them. I feel like this is a way for Nintendo to implement an achievement-based system that you can actually cash in for something meaningful.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing what they do with it more. As it stands, it's literally just Miitomo and spending money on the eShop that'll net you anything. So yeah.
Interesting first foray into the world of mobile for Nintendo. I'm very interested to see what they do.
I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, should we stop? Because I want to go to bed because it's late.
Yes. Well,
that was Permadeath Podcast, episode 24, everybody. Everything we've been playing, an episode entirely about what we've been playing. It's been so long, there have been no questions. We didn't ask for questions because we knew there's a big backlog to clear in terms of what we'd be discussing. And we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed the E3 roundup. I hope you enjoyed the wonderful coverage that Ebby Kinross and Andy had with E3. And
we hope you like the Pocket and Star Fox thing.
Yes. Different styles of content from us. And we hope you look forward to more stuff in the future. And if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, if you're new to the show, if for some reason you're stumbling upon this, you can find me at Pepperham, maybe at BizarreDeli5, and Kinross at Kinross07. All links down below, as well as the podcast at Permapodcast. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube and also find us on the iTunes. And that's pretty much it. If you liked it, give us a like and enjoy Kinross's Azusaphone.
Because normally it's at the start. You saved yourself.
See you next year, everybody. See you next year.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.